4:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 30th. Oh, that was a mistake I made. 2024, and we're beginning the Student Senate General Assembly, calling the meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. Now reading the opening script. Welcome to our General Assembly meeting of the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and will be recorded for transparency and record-keeping purposes. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To senators and supporting staff online. Members, if you're able, please activate your video. I don't think anyone, oh, Hassan does have his video on. So thank you, Hassan, or VP Hashmi. And activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Thank you all. So I'd like to see more of you turn your videos on if you're able to. Please use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak. I'll do my best to monitor for hands. So when you want to ask questions or request a roll call vote or make a motion. As chair, I'll do my best to call on committee members on the order in which the hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. Now beginning the roll call on to BG-Town.
The roll call starts now. Starting from Executive Council, President Brito.
Present.
Oh, I get to see what you're saying.
VP Tong, present. VP Hashimi,
Present.
VP Sarifo,
Present.
VP Mikosha, VP Mikosha,
We'll wait till the end and see if she makes it.
Advisor Cario Crowton.
Present.
Then goes to Trax Campus, Senator Avila. Senator Avila,
He said he was present. He can't speak right now.
Senator Bregman. Senator Bregman,
I guess we're not hearing anything. Haven't heard any communications, so we'll put absent for now.
Are you asking for Sierra?
No, not Sierra. She's next though.
Senator Sierra Brunner. Senator Sierra Brunner,
Yes, Sierra, it's time. We're calling you now.
Okay.
Here.
Okay, well, there we go. Perfect.
Senator Kamara,
Present.
Senator Castens,
Present.
Senator Jacobson, Senator Juf,
Present.
Senator Oviedo, Senator Oviedo,
Not hearing from him. We'll move on.
Senator Tinoco,
Does anyone have updates on Senator Tinoco, Patricio? Nothing? Okay, we'll reach out to him.
Senator Wilkin,
Present.
then goes to regional and metro campuses. Portage Campus Senator Crowder,
Present.
Reedsburg Senator Stacy Bronner, Reedsburg Senator Stacy Bronner,
Come back at the end. I'll type in the chat. Well,
Watertown Senate, currently vacant. Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks,
Present.
what did I say?
Goodman South Senator Bissonnette.
Present.
Yes, I'm here. I lost signal. I'm driving.
I figured, no worries, that's why you looped around at the end. Thank you. You can mark her here. Right there, marker's present. We got you covered. Okay. And do we have quorum?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We do have quorum, it's established. So now we can move on to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. A little confusing here, but I did provide the minutes online, marked correctly, but on this sheet of paper, I didn't write General Assembly minutes. I wrote agenda again, so we're figuring out the kinks for that. We'll have the template right for the next meeting. The important thing is that we've got minutes for this meeting. So if you haven't had a chance to look it over, we can look it over quick, and I'll be waiting for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last time. Just a quick note about formatting, the minimum amount required by open meeting minute laws, or just what's voted on by each of the, if a motion was made, who voted on it and what was the result. So that's at the minimum amount. Obviously want to do a little bit better, but for not having a person and to do it, this is what we got, so.
Motion.
Okay, motion from Senator Carstens. Do we have a second? Okay, so second from Senator Jacobson. So it's now been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion over the meeting minutes. Oh, don't see hand raised. Okay, well, hearing no discussion over the meeting minutes, if we now do a vote by unanimous approval, if no one objects to approving the meeting minutes, the motion carries. Does anyone object? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seeing no hands, this motion does carry. So our official banging of the gavel. Moving on to reading and approval of meeting agenda. So that was sent out as well. It's also in front of people who are here in person. So has anyone had a chance to read it? If so, I would be looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion from Senator Crowder to approve the agenda. Do we have a second? I see a hand raised from Senator Carstens. And sorry, Senator Wilkin, I don't acknowledge our online folk enough, but I'll pay attention next time. So it's been properly moved and seconded by Senator Crowder and Senator Carstens to approve the meeting agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we can now do a vote by unanimous approval. If no one objects, then we'll pass this motion. Does anyone object to passing the motion in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Okay, agenda passes. Moving on to public comment. Advisor Callio, no, I had that right before. How do I say the last half of your name?
Crotto.
Crotone, okay. Yes, do we have any public comment in the last 24 hours that I didn't see?
I have not received any notice of public comment in the last 24 hours.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to disclosures and recusals. I'll read our standard statement. Yes, Senator Crowder.
I'm just wondering if there's any public comment, Mr. Green, if there's anything that you need to tell us to wrap up or anything.
I'm just here for writing support.
Okay, perfect.
I just wanted to check.
It's good to check those things. To lend your voice. And that's called lending your voice to anyone in the audience. So you're allowed to do that. Technically, people don't have voting rights as guests, but you can lend your voice to them to have their issue heard. That is your role, or that is one of the roles that you can take on during or using Robert's rules during a General Assembly meeting. So now moving on to disclosures and recusals, in which I'll ask any member if they'd like to disclose any partnerships, affiliations, associations, ownerships of any sort, etc., regarding any business items up for discussion or any other item in general. But if anyone needs to disclose anything, now's the time. Not seeing any hands online either. So 3, 2, 1. No one needs to disclose anything. Perfect. Moving on. Reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees, Executive Council, and President's Report. So it's been an interesting time in the life of Kai right now. You may have seen an email. I've told some of you that there is a president, our current president, Dr. Jack Daniels, the third, is moving on from his and retiring from his role as president. He'll be retiring sometime. It was announced in December. So that's the scheduled timeline for that. There is a presidential search committee. I am on it currently. If any of you would like to email me with any questions, concerns, commentary about what you're looking for in the next president, feel free to message me for that, because I will be one of the, I think, currently the only student voice on that committee. So if there's anything you're looking for in a president, this discussion will come up again, but please let me know and I'll make those efforts heard. Yes,
You
Senator
might want
Thurston.
to talk to Rachie.
So who?
You might want to talk to Rachie Zane, the new student liaison. She might
Perfect.
also be on that. I haven't talked to her recently, but you should talk to her.
Yes, I can definitely do that. Thank you for that commentary. Great suggestion. So perfect example of, people that need to be brought into the process, and I'll be updating you constantly throughout it as well. Additionally, Senator Karsten, Senator Avila, and I are also part of the the shared governance implementation team. We had our first meeting last week, Thursday, and we're having another meeting this upcoming Thursday, which I'll not be present for because I'll be on the presidential search committee. So some conflicting things ongoing, but that's how our shared governance model works at our school, and we're having discussions about how those things will be potentially restructured. So yeah, I'll be updating you continually throughout it, but there is talk about condensing some of those ideas around the topics for Vision 2030. Nothing's really set right now, but I'll be continuing to update you as those times go on. Additionally, I've been meeting with more people, and we'll be setting up our executive council meeting times, and we'll be putting your committee assignments and inclusion belonging coordinator applications out soon. Our advisor will tell more about that for now. But that's all I have. End of my report. Is there any questions with the remaining time? Seeing no questions, we can move on. So for Administration and Finance Committee, VP Tao.
No report.
No report. Legislative Affairs Committee, VP Hashmi.
No report for now.
Okay, perfect. Team Development Committee, VP Salifu. Nohaya. We'll come back to her. Public Relations Committee, VP Negosha. I don't believe she was here, but I don't think I see her. Okay, I do see Senator Oviedo. Are you here now? Okay, well, we'll check in with him at another point. Okay, back to VP Salifu. Are you there, Nohaya? Okay, well, we'll move on to our advisor. So I will correct that for the next one in our agenda that is actually listed wrong. So I will make that correction in the next one. My apologies. So for advisor Calio Pertone. Han? Pertone. Okay, we're working on it. I'm getting better. Yes, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, President Brito. A few items for the report for this meeting. One, please be aware that to be a part of the Student Senate, you need to complete an employment application. That was requested of you, I believe, as you were being prepared or were sworn in, as you all were to also complete a agreement to serve. I will be following up with everybody who has not completed an employment application yet, simply for the fact that we do need to have everybody employed so that you can receive your payment as well as continue with the Senate as you are paid a stipend for this as a general senator, including some other payment as you are an executive officer. Your agreement to serve should have been completed when you were sworn in. So if you did not attend the swearing in ceremony, please talk with me as well. As well as continue to complete your new Senate training. If you have not completed the Blackboard training, please make sure you're completing that at minimum by the time we are meeting next. So tonight, as will be discussed later, lesson number 2 is due. The remainder of the lessons should be open, and so you should be able to complete those at your leisure. Myself and President Brito have reached out to certain folks to set up one-on-ones to kind of get the ball rolling for what we want this year to look like. Be advised that all general senators, President Brito and I will be reaching out to you in the near future to begin working to meet with you about your aspirations and goals for this upcoming year. As well as I've reached out to everybody just to schedule a time to meet with you and talk with you as well, as I'm new to this position, 2 weeks into it. So I'd be really happy to get to know y'all more and get to know kind of how it is that you would like to continue forward and leave your legacy here with the Senate. My final points are tomorrow, the communications coordinator and the inclusion and belonging coordinator positions will be sent out to you all from the Senate email. You can apply then. The descriptions for those will also be provided. So in that email will be a one-stop shop of all information that you may need if you are interested in applying for those positions. The due dates, the day that we are asking all applications be submitted for the communication coordinator and the inclusion belonging coordinator is June 14th at the end of the day. So that should be on Friday, right? June 14th, I believe is a Friday, by 4:30 p.m. Lastly, we will be making decisions the following week. We will announce appointments for those positions as of June 27th. And then for next meeting, be advised that President Brito and I will begin talking about the different committee assignments that will be discussed, and the application process will be talked about at that time as well for the standing committees that you are to be a part of. That's all I have for my reports.
There is a hand raise from Senator Brunner.
Yes?
For the training, if we've already done that previously, do we have to redo it?
I believe the answer is no, you do not have to redo it.
Okay, because I was just wondering how we go about redoing it if it's already done.
I believe that if you have completed it previously, you do not have to complete it again. Thank you for asking.
Yep, I'll add on to that, confirm. Yep, that's correct. It'll be Senator Crowder and then VP Hashmi on deck.
So if I heard correctly, and I may not have done because my attention is slightly split, I'm sorry. In regards to the committees and the shared governments, are we submitting this year, like which ones we're interested in, or are you guys assigning? Because I got the impression it was being assigned based on what you were stating.
I'll look at President Brito here.
Yeah, so we'll be collecting interest applications so we can find out where to assign people. That'll be a decision made by the Executive Council. So the 5 members of the voting members of the Executive Council. I do get a vote on that one. So one of the few things I get to vote on.
I just didn't hear about the application. I thought it was-
We were holding off on like the details on that, but I guess I got out anyway. So maybe I should have just, yeah. But anyways, yes, VP Hashmi.
I just have a question about how many lessons we have in Blackboard, because I only see 2, lesson 1 and 2. But are there other lessons that they're gonna add
So
later?
there are other, I apologize. Yes, there are other lessons. Again, I'm learning with this, so it sounds like maybe that the release is tiered. So you may not see the other ones as of right now. There are 8 total lessons, but if you can only see 2, that's all you're responsible for completing at this time. So I apologize for misspeaking on that.
Yeah, maybe in the future we could, is there a way, an option to do, you have them all visible, but they're locked?
I think maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that might be, I don't know, something to explore.
Tomorrow the next day after the meeting, see. But yeah,
Yeah, a potential option so that people know what's there, but they access it, and it's locked, so they don't access it early. Senator Cameron.
Yes, I was just checking, do they send notifications whenever they post those on the Blackboard?
I am unsure. I will have to defer and I will get back to you on that if there is a notification sent when they are released. I would assume that they are based on other technology I've worked with, but I will get back to you tomorrow with the answer and make sure that's provided in the minutes.
Yeah, and additionally, we can send that out as part of the weekly email that we get. So if you've been accessing the emails that I've been sending out with the meeting materials for our Senate General Assembly, I can actually start including those in there. So I'll find the link for that. So yeah, as a person that already completed the training, it wasn't high on my priority list, but I understand that now for people that haven't done it yet. So you can add that to the list of items to put on those email communications.
Yeah, because Hassan was talking about the second one. So I did the first one, but I'm not sure about the second one. So I don't know, but I will look it up.
Yep, and we'll do an overview of it after this meeting as well. So you won't miss too much, but it is good to understand how it works, so you don't feel too lost about things. But yep, you can just check it out after the fact if you weren't able to get to it.
All right.
Yep, and Senator Wilkin is correct about that statement. It's due every 2 weeks in the summer on GA Day, so perfect. Yep, and then Senator Brunner, do you had another comment, follow-up?
Just have another question. If we already know what committee we're interested in, can we just like email you and let you know, or is there
So
gonna be a
we'd like
specific?
everyone, yeah, so we would like everyone to submit a formal request because it's gonna be, so basically we're all gonna have, so for the new executive council to get into the, to learn how the appointment system works, we do want all those answers fielded into one area. So if you could fill out that survey when it comes out, that would be good. That way we know where to appoint you, because they'll be taking part in the appointment process. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, sounds like we can move on from that. We're going to circle back to VP Salifu. Are you here now? Can you hear us? Are you able to give any feedback on your report status? Okay, well, we're not hearing anything, so I think we'll just move on. Student Activities Board, VP Tao.
No report.
Okay, with the remaining time list attached to you, I would just like to mention that there is a summer SAB. We'll be talking about, I'm not sure whether or not that is, you'll get invited to that or not. I'll ask Ellie, who's in charge of that along with Dr. Casper and myself. So there is that summer meeting. I want to let you know it existed. If there's any informational updates, I'll let you know, but I'll ask and see if we want to like have you on that at this current time, or if the training's better to you know, work out. So I'll be in touch with you about that. Sound good? Okay, perfect. Textbook Affordability Committee, Senator Sierra Brunner. Senator Sierra Brunner, do you hear us? For textbook affordability? Okay, well, I can't hear her right now. I guess we'll just move on for now. Student Parent Support Group, Senator Crowder.
We did not have a meeting. We haven't had a meeting since the last one. We will have a meeting next month on the second Wednesday, or the first Wednesday. My apologies, but I haven't seen a notice yet either.
Okay, thank you for your update. Affordability. Okay, coming back, so Inclusion and Belonging Coordinator currently vacant. We're looking for applications. Textbook Affordability Committee, Senator Sierra Brunner, are you there? Oh, we never called Sierra. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, okay, moving on. Reports from regional and metro campuses.
There's no
Senators.
report.
Okay, perfect timing. Reports from regional and metro campuses, Reedsburg campus, Senator Stacy Brunner. Any report from your Reedsburg
Yeah,
campus?
no report.
Okay, perfect. Watertown campus vacant, Portage, Senator Crowder.
No report.
No report from there. Fort Atkinson, Senator Dirks.
No report.
Okay, thank you. From Goodman South, Senator Bissonnette. Or Bissonnette, sorry.
No report.
Thank you. Report from College Assembly and Shared Governance Councils. College Assembly is currently vacant. I am also going to be on that committee in addition to our Senate appointments. Just noting that for everyone. Academic Council, currently vacant. Diversity and Community Relations Council, Senator Crowder.
We have a meeting scheduled for June 5th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. virtually.
Okay, if you want to write that in the chat too, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Facilities Planning and Investment Council, currently vacant. Finance Council, that's my council. We do have a meeting tomorrow at 10:30, or sorry, at 10 o'clock a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I'll write that in the chat as well. So Information Technology Council, Senator Avila. Angel, you got anything for IT? Okay, let's go back to Nohaya. I think I see that you're here now. Do you have a report for team development?
No.
Okay. We're gonna ask that you pay attention to when it comes during in the sequence of the agenda, please. Okay, so Senator Avila, okay, we'll just say this part.
Hello?
Institutional effective. Oh, yes?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So everything is doing pretty good?
Everything's doing good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So, we actually had a meeting, last weekend. I'm trying to, build a folder so everybody can see, the information that I'm gonna be sharing. We mainly talk about the 2030 vision, and that will be the end of my report.
Okay, perfect. And, we can actually create folders for you. So I'll take a look at the structure, the shared governance in our SharePoint folder. I feel like we should, if we don't already have a folder, it should be easy for us to create. So, stay tuned for us next week on that. We'll come up with a place for you to put your shared governance materials on that.
Thank you.
Yep. Institutional Effectiveness Council currently vacant. Student Affairs Council currently vacant. Soon not to be when you get your appointments. Unfinished business, there is no unfinished business. Now, the fun part, new business. New senator swearing in for Stevie Brockman. Not here, so we'll skip that for VP Hashmi. We do have, I have both the 30s, sorry. Now we do have overview of summer schedule. So for our advisor, Calio Croteau, would you please pull up the summer schedule? Yeah, I'll rely on you to do that stuff because I have to watch people's hands. I can't stuff all this sadly.
Please give me 1 minute.
Yep. So generally, I just wanted to talk about it at our next meeting. You'll see it when they pull up the summer schedule, but there is opportunity for public comment. Today, we didn't have any public comment, but there will be people. And in fact, next week, we will be having a meeting with the director of Porchlight, whom I currently actually have an internship with this summer, as well as some city officials, and talk about the issue of affordable housing. So that's something that they want our student input on because we're members that are going to be affected by housing developments on campus. And this is our opportunity to make our voices heard on that specific issue of affordability that does play into the whole general college affordability, issue statement that we support, or at least the past Senate has supported. Maybe you don't support that. I would imagine that is in alignment with student interests, but we all do get to decide that ourselves. So if there's any statements you have for or against it, please make them next week. Additionally, we'll be planning out, so our advisor and I will be planning out some other meetings that are in alignment with our Senate 3-year plan for those public comments. So those will be like 20 to 30-minute conversations with members of the public that are either at our school or making some difference that impacts our student interests. So we'll be having more and more of those people, and you'll learn kind of how our school works. For some of you, you may even know some of these people. You've been like part of Senate before, other affiliated things, but for others, this will be an opportunity for you to learn how our resources are connected and how we actually can affect how things work at Madison College. So we'll pay attention to that. Do we have we're almost getting there. We stall for a little bit more time. Is there anything that anyone would want to hear more about? Because things that we have on the future. Oh, yep, Senator Crowder.
So, with the discussion in regards to, housing and affordability and
Yes.
all of that. And I don't know, I haven't verified this information, but I was told by a student that there's some housing, things that are available for students. However, you have to be a full-time student and you can't be a part-time student, which is recognized for federal financial aid. And I don't know why that would be the case, but it seems unfair if it's not 6 credits or more.
Yeah, I do think that has to do with some guidelines from the government, from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. I will follow up. I've heard this before. And I do believe Kita from RISE is the person that brought that up to me. So
That's not who brought it up to me. Christina did.
Oh, Christina did? Okay, so 2 people in RISE now know about that. So I'll ask, follow up with them and see what we can get on that. But now conveniently, thank you for that. Hassan, so VP Hashmi, did you have something you wanted to say before we?
Yeah, I do have a kind of follow-up question to VP Crowder, or like a similar question. Who gets to decide, like if this course is 5 credit or 4 credit? It's just like a more general question that I don't know answer to it.
Well, as far as what the credit decision would be. If it's a federal, then it would be a federal decision. But if we have any input in it, then we should express that when they come in. I think at minimum, it should be 6 credits, possibly, at least that's my thought right now, but I'm
Yeah.
always open to discussions.
Sorry, I meant like courses like, you know, like there's physics courses
Oh.
and what's so not. They're like 4 credits, I believe, or 5 credits, but there's other courses that like there are 3 credits. It depends on what, like who gets to decide. Is it like up to the school to decide that, or it's like a federal thing?
Oh, I have no idea.
The school and the deans of those schools will decide how much the class is.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So Senator Carson said that it was this individual school that the department is in, and then the deans of those schools. And I do believe that there's a standard accreditation model that they probably reference and check against. I'm not super familiar with it, but it sounds like we're in agreement. It's along the lines. We can get you connected with people if you want to learn more. In fact, I feel like that's an issue that someone from the Academic Affairs Council would be able to answer more fully, along with other topics related to academic affairs. So your commentary has been noted. Follow-up
Yeah, I
or
was
something
just gonna
different?
say, I
Okay.
could totally see the point, because that makes a class incredibly expensive. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Senator Dirks?
I just wanted to add into the discussion. So for the credit thing, I think it also just has to do with like how the UW system works with like transferring as well. Because I know myself and other students, like we plan on transferring to a 4-year university after being at Madison College, and they kind of want to keep things streamlined. So like, you know, if they have a 3-credit communication class at UW Madison, they'd want to have a similar 3-credit class at Madison College as well. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I think it's just a matter of making it easier for people to, I guess, transfer credits between universities. But I don't know who actually decides that, you know, if it's the instructors or like some other entity or body in the student, like in the college campuses or anything like that. So that would be something interesting to learn more about, though.
Yeah, that's been noted. So I do think that that does play a part into it. We have something called consortium agreements, as well as there's another type of agreement that we have that allows our credits to be transferred between schools. So that's something that we can take note of. And also, I do know some people are interested in the academic forgiveness policy for past courses that have been like from years ago, and how that's included in your GPA, in your cumulative GPA. So these are 2 topics that potentially could be for something to a bigger discussion on academic affairs. So noted. Thank you. Generally, I just wanted to point out that this summer timeline, you can all access it on the SharePoint site. And this is where we're going to be posting like ideas for guests that we have for the future. If you have an idea for a guest, that a topic you want to hear more about, like these academic affairs discussions about accreditation and the number of credits for each course, please let us know, and we'll try and find a person to talk about it. As an executive council, we'll decide together about what's going to be on the docket. So once we get those exec council meetings going, in the meantime, I do know we have plans for people to talk about 3-year plan and our current public comment for next week. So we'll be having that. We'll be updating this throughout time. That's all I wanted to talk about for this. Okay, moving on. Inclusion, belonging, theme resolutions. So I don't know if you could pull up as an example any one of the non-voting IBC resolutions. So as I noted in my email that I sent out yesterday, I did write 7 resolutions. Obviously, not all 7 of them are going to be up for discussion today. Only one of them will be. But among them, they fall in line with a bigger topic or like initiative that we had from last year, inclusion and belonging. There is an entire position that we focused on for inclusion and belonging to promote diversity and collaboration with people on campus. So I wrote resolutions that associate not only the student groups or organizations that are aligned with these interests, but also like with a certain date that exists on campus. So for example, Hispanic Heritage Month is pulled up. La Raza Unida and United Common Ground and Intercultural Exchange are groups that work to promote events during this period of time, and they celebrate it on campus and they make their identity known. So we're putting these or working on these resolutions to kind of like cross promote and build partnerships and community with these groups on campus. I think one of the easiest ways for Student Senate to get the word out there and to do good work for the student body is to work through clubs that already exist. So if we know who already exists, we can collaborate with them and make these events bigger, better, and possibly recruit even into Senate. So I think, good things happen when we work together. So that's kind of the idea behind these resolutions. So there's 7 of them. Pride Month is one up for discussion today. Black History Month, Senator Crowder is also the president of BSU. So we'll be working with BSU as well as the African Student Association, I believe they're called. Okay, so that's them. Hispanic Heritage Month, the one I just mentioned. There is NASA, the Native American Student Association for Native American Heritage Month and Indigenous Peoples Day. There's World Mental Health Day with Peer Health Educators, which is a student organization. So slightly different, but obviously you can still work with an organization versus just a club. There's Protective Services Week, an initiative that was from last year's. So Senator Wilkin had a big part to play in that last year. And hopefully we'll be able to do our 9/11 display as well as, find a speaker for the 9/11 event on campus so we can, build partnerships with that group of students, as well as the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which happens in May, which is a little sad that the event happens then, but because it's hard to plan around exams, but it's not, we should still recognize it, obviously. So those are the 7 included, and the one for discussion today will be Pride Month. So I just wanted to overview that and how it falls in line with our initiatives. So, question.
I think more of a comment. We should keep in mind, even though the recognition is in May, that the New Year events, I think they happen in February.
Like Hmong New Year, Chinese, or I guess it's Lunar New Year. Yeah.
Because we do a lot at that time. So it might be an opportunity for Senate to participate or, just attend events. Not necessarily, we're not necessarily having to plan everything, but I know some senators, including myself, we just went around and we attended different events and got culture and got to meet more people.
And free food. I love
Yeah.
free food. Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, so it's good to have cross promotion. So if you have any clubs you want to bring up, maybe we can do something. Really the point of these things are to find places to collaborate with each other on this. I think that's what Student Senate is about. It's an easy way to get to know people. So that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve with what's going on. And we'll be sending this stuff, these pieces of legislation out to members of each group so that they can contribute in on it. Obviously from last year, we already had that collaboration and, our BSU president / student senator / WTCS ambassador is also working on the Black History Month. So we'll be getting in contact with African Student Union as well. So that's what we got going on. Any other commentary or questions about this? Seeing no hands in the room, seeing no hands online, I do believe we can move on. The big discussion point of the night tonight is resolution number 1, LGBTQ Pride Month. I'll be taking the lead on that. Can you pull up the resolution? Thank you. Let's just plug this in because this is dying. So just to preface this, June, which is going to be coming up pretty soon this weekend. Let's see when our calendar says. I believe it's on Saturday. Yep, Saturday, June 1st will be the beginning of actual Pride Month. So we wrote this resolution, continuing on from last year, just to recognize that the month exists and to kind of find more collaboration points with Gender Sexuality Alliance, which is a identity-based club on campus that deals with LGBTQ individuals and events so that people can feel recognized and seen on campus and just kind of connect over that mutual identity so they have a safe space for that. So this resolution is mainly so it's on LGBTQ Pride Month, and the formal motion is that Student Senate will recognize June 1st as the beginning of Pride Month for the entire month of June and work in partnership with Gender and Sexuality Alliance, GSA, to support LGBTQIA+ communities on all Madison College campuses. That is the general idea behind it, and that's the motion that would carry on. There are whereas statements that state the importance of it, and then there's also at the end of it, if you wanted to, this is up for potential vote if people want to, that's what would happen, and you do a vote by roll call for the end of it if you wanted to approve or deny it or table it entirely. So these are some options you have on the table for it. but generally, do we have discussion or thoughts about this topic? Does it sound interesting to you? Do you like it? Do you wonder why we're doing this? What's the general thought here? I might just call on random people too. Oh, also, we could get a motion to suspend Robert's rules.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion to suspend Robert's rules. Do we have a second? I'll explain
Second.
this afterwards. Second from that. So just an explanation during discussion portion of this. Suspension of Robert's rules just to allow people to discuss things without raising hands. We can kind of, self-moderate ourselves so we can have a, lively discussion of ideas amongst ourselves. So it's been properly moved and seconded to suspend Robert's rules for the duration of this agenda item. Vote by unanimous approval. If there's no objection, this motion passes. I don't see things on my hands in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Robert's rules is suspended for the remainder of this agenda item. So feel free to talk. Does anyone have any initial thoughts on this?
What,
Oh,
you
no,
go first.
go
No,
ahead.
you're first.
No, mine will be longer. Go ahead.
There are actions and commitments, but how can we turn these into results? Do you have any ideas as far as our DEI person from last year, had they identified discriminatory policies here at the campus? Were they working on producing a action plan for how to deal with these policies? Yeah, I guess how can we turn these commitments into actual results, because commitments mean nothing without action.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just centered around, we haven't talked to GSA yet. Really, this legislation is a point to look back and say like, okay, we have a commitment that we're making to this group of individuals. And now we need to talk to people in GSA beyond just me, like knowing people. Because I know a lot of people from a lot of places, and people in Raza and ASA and BSU, obviously, and we have a BSU connection. But we need to actually like work with them and see like, what is it that you want on campus? Also, we worked with the advisors currently. Marco Torres Miranda is one of the 2 advisors, and he works for the Institute for Equity and Transformational Change. So like speaking with him, I mean, like how to make this campus more equitable. One thing is we've had discussions about this before, the name policy, like that's going through an ongoing change right now. So that if anyone doesn't know, there is a student like 1 card policy that didn't allow you to put your name on there. So that we found that policy to be harmful towards transgender peoples who don't go by the name that is identified on their student ID, although that also was an issue for people who just wanted to go by their middle name, for people who were married and couldn't get their name changed in the system, and also for people that were foreign-born international students that had like an anglicized name, but also their natural name that wasn't appearing on their cards. Like, what do you go by? So it was just really about getting students in general to have that independence and choice on how they're going to be represented on their own ID card. So that's like one thing that was done. Also, just like holding more events. I was invited to the open community dinner, and we represented Madison College from like as being part of the larger like LGBTQ community in Madison. So like, I don't know, those types of things. But really the first start is just talking to people in GSA and saying, what is it that you want and how do you like, what are you trying to accomplish on campus?
So your resolution is a commitment to work on results.
I think so. We haven't identified what they are yet. So like, I think we need to create the partnership before we figure out what it is we're going to do. So that's the intention for these. And all of them have that intention. So every single one that was written out is associated with a student group. So like La Raza Unida, BSU, ASA, and also ASA for African Student Association, funnily enough. So like peer health educators, like they're all different groups on campus that we would like to get more connections with. So this is kind of fitting in our overall theme of there are these groups on campus that have these events that they celebrate, and we should get to know them. That's really what these are all about. Anyone else from online? Like, this is your first piece of legislation. It's pretty historic. Maybe, let's see. Senator Bissonnette. Oh, sorry, Cam. I keep doing this to you. Cam, just go, because you raised your hand.
Yeah, I'm I'm reading over the resolution right now, and the only thing that looks a little strange to me is, so in section 2, subsection 1, point B, is addressing, so it's in the actions and commitments, and it says addressing
Yes.
discriminatory legislation and policies against LGBTQIA communities within administrative bodies and shared governance channels and communications. So I like saying that we will commit to addressing discriminatory legislation just seems kind of counterintuitive. Like I understand what it's trying to say. Like we want people to know what is kind of discriminatory against them. But it seems like, what does that mean? Like we're going to have a town hall and sit and be like, okay, well, this is legislation that got passed yesterday, because that's not necessarily in our jurisdiction.
I don't think it says within state or national. I do think the intention, as the author of this bill, was to discuss anything that happened at Madison College, that we would discuss it. So there's certain events like WISCOR, Wisconsin Conference on Race and Ethnicity. We talk about like things that are happening nationally on college campuses, and then what we can do on our own campuses to be more inclusive. Part of addressing discriminatory legislation is also to create like safe spaces and community so that it doesn't happen at all. I'd say that's like the other half of it. I don't think we need to wait for something bad to happen. We can also do preventative measures to create situations where it never happens at all. If everyone feels safe and like open about their communities, then are there going to be discrimination?
Yeah,
Hopefully not.
I'm not opposed to it by any means. I think of it more as like just when I'm reading over it, the way it makes sense in my mind is that it's talking about like Congress's legislation, like new rules that are being put in place by people, you know, that we can't really talk to and we can't change.
What if we just said discriminatory policies?
It could probably be reworded.
Well,
Or,
think
or
about
even just
that.
add at the end on Madison College campus or something.
Sure, why don't we do that as a quick fix? I'll take that as a friendly amendment. And then, Annette, since you excited.
So, I had a similar concern and I was wondering if maybe if this would be acceptable, Cameron, address anti-LGBTQIA plus legislation and policies through administrative and governance communication channels. So to me, that just means that, we are having conversations and we're keeping in touch with what's going on with our community and making sure that the students are aware that we're aware and taking feedback back. I don't know if that would be acceptable or not.
I did just add on Madison College campuses, but also Senator Jacobson.
My personal take on addressing the number of anti-LGBTQI bills that have been passed, just like generally on like a national level, I think that there are ways that we could work to tackle this, or at least make our voices heard within our community. A big part of this is collaborating with our GSA, and so I'm kind of thinking here, what if when we do go to collaborate, we bring up ideas of creating community events where we could push out these resources to make our voices heard, potentially donate towards causes that are bigger causes that are actively fighting against these discriminatory bills, for example.
Yeah, see, these are options. Like, I feel like everyone's focused on the negative side of it, and I'm not saying that that's what's going on. I don't know why. Apparently, that's the way I write. But yeah, so you're not the only person to say that now. So interesting feedback. But yeah, no, that wasn't the goal of this. The goal is to say, like, we're doing a prevention defense, I guess, or like prevent defense. So we are trying to prevent things by creating communities where we don't have to worry about that. So we're getting ahead of the problem before it even becomes one. At least that's how I saw it. But I did just take your suggestion, Cam, just added on, like tacked on Madison College campuses afterwards. Does that fix most of your concerns?
Yeah, it wasn't like I was not opposed to the idea of talking about this. I was more just like a little bit lost reading it. Like I wasn't, say, in the Senate and I was reading over this document, I would be a little bit lost on where, like, if it meant that it was happening at Madison College or if it meant like on a national scale.
That's fair, being more specific, so good feedback. Okay, does anyone else have any? Yes.
Defer to online, some of the online participants have raised their hand.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just reading the bill initially. So, yeah, yeah, Ibrahim, sorry. You frozen? Senator Kamara, you're totally free to talk.
Oh, yes. Dragging this back to people that transfer to four-year university, especially people in their programs already. So they find it really hard to transfer to UW universities. They can only transfer to private universities. So people that are in their programs like graphic design, video audio design, animation. So is there any way that the programs can be a little bit similar so there will not be an issue when it comes to transferring to for university?
I'm so sorry. I think I'm having trouble hearing your microphone. So I kind of make out half of what you're saying, and I can't hear the other half. Can you repeat that?
Okay, can you hear me clearly now?
I think it's better now, yeah.
Okay, I was just checking on people that are on their program. They find it really hard to transfer to a four-year university when it comes to students from the graphic design program or students from animation, video audio design, and some other programs as well. So it's more of like you have to transfer to private universities, which are way, way more expensive than public universities. So is there any way that some of our programs can be similar, but for an easy transfer? Because like a student from those programs, when they transfer to UW-Madison, they have to start all over again.
So I will address that, but it's not quite on topic, but I'll just say this. Yeah, that does seem like another issue to tap on to when we talk to the Academic Affairs Council. We can bring that up because I don't have information for you right now. And we are talking about this resolution. So we can follow up with that though. So that's something that we can look into for the future. But yeah, I do not have the answer, although it does sound like an issue. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll follow up with you and see if we can get someone from Academic Affairs to address the 3 topics we mentioned tonight, because it does seem like a potential like public comment thing that we can ask about. So yeah. Did you have anything to say about this specific resolution? Nothing? Okay. VP Hashmi, you're a pretty vocal guy.
Sorry, could you say that one more time?
Yeah, do you have any thoughts or concerns about this piece of legislation?
No, we're just listening and learning about this resolution.
That's very fair. I did earlier ask, thank you. I did earlier ask Senator Bissonnette if you had, as a person that's interested in, equity and is also part of NASA.
Yeah, I was looking it over and I think it's great. And I'm surprised that we don't have this resolution already. That really surprised me. I was like, oh, wow. So I think it's a great step to what we could do for Pride Month. I think that's the very minimum of what we could do. So I think it's great. I was reading it over and it sounds really nice. And I'm sure people will appreciate it. Those are my thoughts.
No, perfect. Yeah, and so we did actually have this last year. Resolutions only last the term of the Senate. So yeah, we do have to renew them, and it's a chance for us to just renew our commitments, I think. And last year we had Pride Month, but we didn't have other identity-based clubs included. So we've actually grown upon it. There's a history how this was crafted. So this was based on last year's, and we've improved upon it a little bit since and tried to be better. So yeah, I'm glad that you are interested in our work. So thank you. Senator Dirks, haven't heard from you this round.
Well, just looking at it so far, yeah, besides just the comment on, the scope and scale of everything, I think this would be a good bill to pass. I don't see anything inherently wrong with it or it all looks like good stuff, that would help support the LGBTQ plus community and, foster that sense of belonging on the campus, helping students feel welcome at Madison College.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. VP Salifu? I haven't heard from you, but I do see Cameron, your hand up, so go for it.
I just had one other question. Like when we did the protective services one last year, we were putting on an event as well. And like because we were putting on an event, that all had to be in the resolution. So will we be doing anything like any sort of events or putting anything on, even if it's in collaboration? I guess maybe we don't know for sure yet what that would be, but I feel like if there was an event we were putting on, shouldn't that probably be in here also?
Yeah, so it doesn't need to be in there also if we are not the main host. If we're collaborating with things, they don't need to be introduced into legislation for anything unless we're spending more than, what is it, $500? Let me refer to my bylaws and then mentally. I do believe that $500 is like the threshold, or really any sort of financial amount that we're spending on it. So like when we had to do the spring councils, oh, it's $100. If we spent more than $100, then I think you do need to put like associated with a resolution. But I think it was because protective services, we just didn't know what was going on at that time. Like 1 year ago, we didn't know the rules and stipulations. I don't think it was required. I think maybe that was just like an above and beyond thing that y'all did. So that's why it was there. Also, there was money associated with it. I think there was a request to get coffee, for us to provide coffee, but it ended up being provided by protective services anyway. So wasn't needed, wasn't necessary. I think it was just to help you bolster support for it. So Senator Dirks, I think, was on there first and then Annette, I guess. But also y'all can just speak. We're out of Robert's rules turn.
Thanks for the clarification, Kai.
Yeah. So Lando?
So, yeah, I was just going to say, Cam just kind of jogged my memory. I did have a question earlier I just thought back to. So do we have anyone are we all directly, in this collaboration, are we all directly kind of connected with, the, GSA? Like, are we all, meeting with a particular, the president of GSA or everybody, or do we have the inclusion and belonging coordinator who kind of works directly with GSA and intercultural exchange to kind of help us, form this partnership? What are kind of the details into how we are involved directly with GSA and similar programs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if you had a chance to go through the IBC, so the Inclusion Belonging Coordinator position. One of their roles is to maintain a legislative library of resolutions just like this. So this is kind of like the outcome of what the IBC would do, or the IB coordinator would do. They would be the person, point person to work and connect with it. Also, you can just do that on your own free time. You are a student, you're free and independent and can totally do what you want. If you want to go to a GSA event, you totally can. If you want to go to a BSU event, an ASA event, any of these events, you totally can do that. So you can just say, hello, I'm a student senator. I know Annette, or I know Kai, or I know anyone else on campus. And Mac's pretty well known too. So you can say, Mac, and they'll probably know any of us. And you walk in there and you can just, build those partnerships yourself. But formally, as you're asking, what we would do as a Senate body, yes, it is the IBC that's kind of in charge of that, as well as probably team development. Since Nohaya, she has a special connection to IE, being a worker there. So I think I saw her there earlier today, even from afar. Sorry, I was on my way to a meeting, so I didn't get to say hi to you, Nohaya, but that's kind of what's going on there. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
So, couple things. One, I can attest to my own personal experience. I went and tried to make sure that I attended a meeting for most of the groups on campus that were affinity groups, just so that I could connect faces and names. Plus, I knew that the resolution stuff was coming because we heard about that very early on. And it's a lot easier to get people to help you out with things or to share information later on if they've met you. So I would strongly recommend that people should consider using some of their office hour time
Mm.
to potentially go to a meeting or to, go and at least have a quick meeting with an individual from that club, like the president or the advisor or something. And then as far as, I can't speak for any other group, but for BSU, if the Senate wanted to attach money to the resolution, we already have our date set for our soul food meal dinner for February. So thank you for mentioning that, Cameron. I will probably possibly add that onto the resolution. And then the same thing I did with the Black History Month resolution, where I went and I put headers in there. I don't know, I kind of did, not the exact same headers, but I did the same thing, so that's what that is in there,
Where?
in the chat. You probably don't see it yet.
Don't see it yet. Oh, is this like an update language?
Mhm.
That's fine with me.
I just like the consistency between the two that I was working on today. You know me.
That's fine with me. You know, you are since I'm the introducer and you're the sponsor, we can friendly amendment that and fast track this legislation. So you want to propose that?
Yeah.
Cameron, what do you think? You're on this. Have you had a chance to look over this recent text edition? In general, it looks good to me.
Sorry, can you say it one more time? I was reading over the resolution again.
Yeah. So Annette had some proposed changes to the language, and really it's just adding headers. That's the only thing you changed, right?
A little bit.
Okay, so some grammatical. So Annette's a writing fellow for anyone that didn't know. So she likes to correct my English, which I need it.
Sounds terrible at correcting English.
She has a higher English grade than I do. That's a fact. So, that's correct. Anyways, yeah, so that's, I don't know if you're cool with that, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, like just the first thing that I kind of see in here that I put a comment to text box next to it too was on section 1, number 4. It says in this increasingly hostile legislative, and I think that if we changed in this increasingly to just with increasingly hostile legislative, it kind of makes it sound a little bit better. I guess I need to read it a bit though.
You say it out loud again. Let's just all listen to it.
Well, it's like, so the comment I wrote, I said, this describes to the audience as if they already know what this refers to. And I think changing from in this to like with increasingly hostile legislative being forward, like rather than, because like, I don't know, otherwise it implies that people already know what the increasingly hostile legislative already is, when most people probably don't know what it is.
I guess it was referencing the statement above. So like the legislative environment would be the 510 bills that were introduced. So I felt like that was
It's just nitpicky too. It's not even like, it's not even a problem.
no, I changed it. I changed it to with increasingly hostile legislative environments at state and national levels. Does that sound more in line?
I think
with
it
what you were
sounds a little
thinking?
more concise.
Sure, that's fine. Does anyone have any like substantive or it's like other than grammar, which I'm not perfect at, as my grades have determined as from last semester. Does anyone have any like issue with this resolution on its face, like face value, or we're just arguing over language pretty much? Oh, BB Tao, I didn't get to ask you what you thought. What do you think, Elam?
No comments.
No, wise man, very wise man.
I make a motion to come out of, what's it called? What are we in, where we're just?
You could just, yeah, that's true. We suspended Robert's rules.
Yes, I make a motion to enact Robert's Rule of Order.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Carson's. Because we're not in Robert's rules, I think we should just, this is interesting. I don't know how this works. We're not in Robert's rules. I think.
So is it just you who says we're?
I think it's just me since I'm the chair. So actually I can just recognize a motion. I do believe that is a valid response to this. I don't know if it's the only one, but it is a valid one.
Well, and if it's not that one, I mean, more or less, I'd like to make a motion to move the bill forward.
With your proposed amendment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And any other amendments.
Which can be friendly. Yeah, which I already made Cameron's suggestion, both of them, for both sections too. Okay, so that's been properly moved. Do we have a second on Annette's motion to accept this legislation with, start with the amendments proposed from Annette?
And Cameron, and anyone.
And Cameron, yes, other people.
Second.
Second by Senator Carstens, okay. So properly moved and seconded. This is a resolution. We can't do vote by unanimous approval. It must be voted on by roll call. So is there any discussion on that motion? And this is a motion to, again, what's it called? Vote on this resolution with the proposed amendments that have been made, which are all friendly at this point, since no one that wasn't an author or co-sponsored the bill wanted to make. Let me see if I see any discussion. No one's raising their hand, so no discussion in 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to have a vote on this resolution. So this is our first piece of resolution. So let's just have a little mini introduction to what this is. So if you scroll down to the bottom, Advisor Calio Curtel, right? Got it right this time. Scroll down to the bottom, please. You'll see a section here about voting record. You'll notice that my name isn't on there. Typically, the chair of the meeting doesn't get a vote. So because I am the chair, not because I'm the president, I'm the chair right now, I do not get a vote on this. I knew I was going to be the chair going into this, so that's why it's the way it is. If I was never, ever not the chair and Yi Long or Hassan were the chair, then they would actually get to be not voting on that. And I actually do get to vote. That's how that one works. But I am the chair, so I do not vote on this one. But what we'll do is we're going to go through, do a vote by voice call. You'll say yay, nay, or abstain, and we'll just move on. And if there's a simple majority, this resolution will pass. So that's what we have. We agreed to using Robert's rules to vote on. So without further ado, if there's no other discussion points after the explanation, anyone, no questions? Seeing no hands in person or online, we can move to the voting. So Yilong or VP Tao, you get the honor of doing the first voting record of our first resolution that we may pass today.
All right,
So I'll sit here with you.
voting record starts now. VP Tao. Go abstain.
You can just put an X there, is typically what we've done. Capital X. Yeah, there we go.
VP Hashmi,
Yes.
VP Sarifo,
Yes.
VP Makosha,
She's still absent. I didn't see her come in. You don't saw her come in? Okay, we can put her as auto abstain for being absent.
Senator Avila,
Is he typing anything in the chat? We'll come back to him.
move forwards. Senator Bregman,
Also absent.
Senator Sarah Brunner,
Abstain.
That was Stacy, Senator Stacy Burt that just spoke. Sarah Brunner is not.
Oh, okay.
They're sharing the same.
They're sharing the same?
Yep, so not ideal, but as long as they're identifying their name, their full name.
Okay.
Everyone seems to be okay with it. Yeah.
Right.
proceed to Senator Amara.
Present.
So we are voting on a, I just want to make sure that you know that you're voting yes on this resolution. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Castens,
Aye.
Senator Jacobson,
Yay.
Senator Drew,
I will abstain.
Senator Oviedo. Senator Oviedo.
I think we can auto abstain him. Patricia was not here.
Senator Tinoco.
Not present.
Senator Wilkin.
Aye.
Portage Senator Senator Crowder.
Yes.
Reesburg Senator Stacy Bronner.
Abstain.
Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks.
Yes.
Goodman South Senator Bisnet.
Yes.
Okay, and what's the final total?
Ako yung vote ako na lang po sa. Ang mga LGBTQ lang ako na yes. Kaya kung di wala mga rek.
Oh, right, sorry, thank you, Senator Wilkin. Angel, are you there? Were you able to vote on this?
Unmute.
I counted 9 before Angel. We'll put him as an abstain. We're not hearing from him. We're having some challenges.
That's a tie.
There's nothing to abstain, so it doesn't, that's like a non-vote. Also, some people are absent, so that doesn't count for it.
Senator Dirks has raised their hand.
Yes, Senator Dirks?
So quick question, is abstaining, since we're doing a 2/3 majority, would that not contribute towards that, or how does that work?
So the way it works, so bills, you'll learn this later on in a module, bills do require, on the first passing, a unanimous vote for a bill on the very first day of introduction. Now, a week later, at the second meeting, I do believe, is that the 2/3? Is that where that comes from?
I thought it was a majority.
Is it still a simple majority for bills as well after the first meeting? Okay. For resolutions, it's always a simple majority. So abstains don't count for anything. It's just people saying they don't choose to vote. All you need is a majority. So technically, as long as we had enough senators, so as long as 9 people were present, we have to have enough to have a quorum. And if one person voted yes, everyone chose to abstain, technically it passes because all it needs is a simple majority. So that's how it would go. Some people auto abstain because they weren't present. So that's how that works. Yeah. So more people voted yes than more people like actually abstained from being present.
Okay.
But what are the final
Thanks
numbers?
for clarifying.
Yes.
That helps. Thank you, Kai.
9 for the yay, 0 for the nay, and 9 for the abstain.
Okay, so with that, our first vote by voice roll call is complete. The resolution does pass. So thank you for that. Okay, yes, miniature clock. So you go, everyone. That was our big item for the day, and it took a majority of the meeting. Moving on to non-business, no non-business announcements. We'll go through the announcements. I know some other people have other announcements they want to make, so we'll do those later. Our next meeting will be Thursday, June 13th in room C2402 at 4:30 p.m. Please fill out the contact info sheet in person, online, or in MS chat. I still haven't got a few people's, and I did not emphasize that. So we'll make sure to get everyone's stuff in and create that chat on Teams. Sorry, not Teams, within Microsoft. So we'll have that page up for you. Complete lesson 3 in the Blackboard course, Responsibilities of a Senator. And after adjournment, stick around for a discussion on lesson number 2 from the Blackboard course. Is anyone else have an announcement to make? No, Senator Wilkin, you had one.
Yeah, so I'm involved with the Wisconsin Democrats organization. And we have an event going on next Tuesday. So it's June 4th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. We are going bowling. I need to figure out where exactly we're going bowling again. But so it's
Union South, I think.
it's free. Yeah, it's free. You show up. There should be extra people there. So if you want to talk politics or what's going on in, with an election year and all of this stuff, you're more than welcome to join. It's a good way to get involved with other people that might share the same values as you, or even just to make friends, meet new people on top of who doesn't like to bowl. So free bowling is always a win in my book. It is put on by a news outlet in Madison. Which news outlet? I'm not so they're subsidizing the cost for us. So put on by this outlet. Yeah, I think that is all I really have right now. And say you have friends too that don't necessarily agree with your politics, they're more than welcome to attend too. I think having extra people involved in the discussion creates a better discussion. So everyone is welcome to attend. If you want a little bit more information, you can totally email me about it and I can get more to you. If not, I would maybe just take if you do want to attend, let me know so I can put you down on a list so that we have a good gauge of how many people are coming, because I think there will be food too. But that's about all I have.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone else have announcements? First of all, thank you. And does anyone else have announcements? Seeing no, oh, I do. Okay, so VP Hashmi.
Yeah, it's not an announcement, but I just had a question earlier about does the absent matter at all? Or how does it have a power? Let's say if there's 10 yeses and 5 absents, or vice versa, how does it work? I still don't understand.
Yeah, so the way it works is that so every single resolution or every single piece of legislation needs to have enough members to have what is called a quorum. A quorum is, we need to make sure that we have at least half of our members plus 1 present. So you can't make legislative decisions without having that quorum of people that guarantee that we're acting as a fair and just body, a legislative body. Because we can't make decisions with only 3 members of a 20-member body, right? So we currently have 19 official members of our student senate, which means we need to have 9 members present for a quorum to be considered. So abstained votes do count as a 0 vote. They're a null vote. You're saying, I don't even wish to vote. I'm going to choose to mark my vote as an abstention. I don't want to contribute to the simple majority of it. So really all it is, it's yes versus no. Abstains are just saying, I did vote, but I'm not voting anything towards it. So technically you could have a situation where 9 people abstained and 1 person voted yes, and it would technically pass. It's not a great way to pass because it's why are people abstaining on that? But it does meet the threshold of having enough people to meet quorum.
Got it.
And to be majority yes. So yeah, that is that, and that's interesting. It'd be good for you to know as legislative affairs. We will be covering this at a future date. So we did kind of get ahead of ourselves with this legislation, but I think it's a good introduction to have experiential learning processes. So any other announcements before VP Crowder, or sorry, I'm so sorry, Senator Crowder. So used to that.
I just wanted to make an announcement about an event. June 15th, there's a Juneteenth Day event. Juneteenth Day is basically the day that's acknowledged as when slavery ended. There's a parade kickoff that starts at 10:45. Usually Madison College has t-shirts that people are able to get if they are coming. You walk in the parade if you like, you don't walk in the parade if you don't want to. There's food. I believe a lot of the food is free, but there are also vendors that you can purchase food from. And then there's vendors that will be selling various goods. A lot of music, good time. So just thought I'd mention it. Yeah, June 15th, and it's usually done by 6 p.m. or you just come for however long you like. So I'll share the event.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any other announcements? I don't see any hands. Do we have any motions to adjourn I'd like to entertain? If you have your hand, oh, sorry, I couldn't see. Okay, I do see a hand raised by Senator Dirk, so motion to adjourn, is it seconded? Seconded by Senator Wilkins. It's been properly motioned by Senator Dirks and seconded by Senator Wilkin to adjourn. Any discussion? I'm feeling pretty cheeky, so all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Aye, that's.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Aye.
there's a resident. I love hearing everyone's voice to say that. Anyone opposed, say no. See no no's. Any abstentions? No abstentions. Okay, with that, motion passes. We are adjourning our meeting at 5:50 p.m. Thank you very much. Please stay afterwards for our Blackboard training.